Hopefully it's working.
Sweet. Awesome. Cool. Well, I'm super excited. So, thank you everybody for joining us today. I am Owen. I appreciate it for you being here. And I'm really excited for our guest today. This is a really cool conversation. This is a good friend of mine. Uh, we are talking with, oh my gosh, you gave this awesome description. Multidimensional guide for high performers, Orion Ohev. Orion, how are you?
So good, brother. So good to be here with you, and so good to be live and for with everyone that's watching.
Awesome. Right? No, this is a good one. So before we dive into anything right now, Orion and we met in an awesome place in an awesome way, and he does some amazing stuff. I just want to dig in first that right now, right, we have been living in weird times for a long time. And it gets a little weirder every single day, it seems. And some things get weirder and some things get a little more normal. And it's a stressful time. So, you're talking to high performers, you really coach people through. What's probably the one big piece of advice you've got for somebody who's feeling just at their wits' end right now?
Yeah. And the biggest piece of advice right now is to let's see how to put it into words, is to really surrender into not knowing. That's the call for all of us right now, is that at a collective level we're heading more deeply into unknown territories. Things are getting weirder by the day. um, Lots of information flying around, lots of different data and statistics, and depending, I think we're all having this experience of friends we respect, from different walks of life, having very varied opinions that are all 100% true. And this is a time to return to our own individual truth, to really bask in the beauty of everyone's different opinions and allow the deeper truth to emerge. And but most importantly, to not try to use the mind to fix and figure out the way out of this. To really remember, use this as an opportunity in the confusion of the times, to reconnect to the deeper truth within you, because that's really all each of us has. um, and it can be so confusing to try to figure it out externally. So pausing, slowing down, taking a deep breath. And maybe we'll get into this today. Obviously, that's challenging, more challenging if someone's lost their job or is having relationship issues and all of that can blow up. So maybe we'll dive into that. But that's at a high level, the biggest piece of advice I'd have.
Gotcha. So what's a good sign that you are not, you said, get reconnected with yourself or get realigned with yourself. What might be a sign that you are not?
The compulsion to figure out the solution. So that is something that we've all been conditioned to believe since we were born, because this has been going around since for at least 500 years. I believe this this societal move actually started in around at least 1500 to 2000 BC. Historically, is when the wave of the mind being king, reason being king, needing to use logic and our mental faculties to figure things out. So when there's a anxiety, a stress, a noticing that the mind is frantically trying to figure out the solution and trying to scatter and look for that solution externally, without a lot of peace, without a lot of trust, with just like kind of, trying to force. It's a feeling of forcing. So, and we're probably all really familiar with that. I mean, I know I still notice it in me coming up. It's that anxious, that action from anxiety instead of action from peace and calm and knowing.
Gotcha. So like when we freak out in panic and do something that ultimately hurts more than something that might have been more beneficial, like a more
Yeah.
thought out choice for the long term, short term reactive thinking.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay, awesome. So, what does it mean to be a multidimensional guide for high performers?
Yeah. I love that question. So it kind of plays off the last question too, because the last question is actually really key. And how do you know if you're in, just playing off that last question, how do you know if you're not listening to your truth. I'd say, 90% of the time you're probably not. Most people on the call that might be listening to this, and even for me, who's been practicing this for a while, it's a consistent practice to know that to notice that when I'm doing when that I still go into it, and I can easily get swept up into that. So the key here, the multidimensional nature, what I mean by that, by being a multidimensional guide, is helping people remember that there's a way more to their this existence on this planet than this three-dimensional body. And now this can sound for very woo-woo, or for any like people who are like, oh God, here's another interview about like traveling dimensions and all of that. Now I don't
They're
buy.
used to it here.
Okay, great. So like for me, it's all about results. And just to, I always kind of throw some things in at this point, not to brag, but just for so people can identify a little bit with who I am. So I just had a six-figure year, a 50K quarter. I'm on track to have a 60 to 80K quarter right now. And the reason that happened, it's from years of trying to use my mind to figure it out and failing doing this passion business part-time till last year, my world really, really falling apart last April, like lost everything to a blank slate basically. And from there, making the decision to follow my heart and follow my truth no matter what, and to not have any plan Bs, to not allow my mind and fear to take me back. And from that 0 point was created this six-figure year, and really, really owning my plan, like what I'm here to do, which is to help other people learn how to navigate unknown times, which I have been doing for 10 years, and just through lots of different means. And in the last year, since this shift last year, really focused full time on this business. So this isn't about just floating up in the other dimensions and like, oh, it's so cool, man, and let's like connect to our higher self. Like it is interesting, it is cool in a way, but I don't agree with just doing it for the sake of doing it. It's about doing it in order to actually not even break through the ceiling. Breaking through the ceiling, I think, is an outdated three-dimensional patriarchal paradigm. It's no, there's no like we don't need to break through it. It's like everyone, we can take a breath. There's like a door right over there. If you stop trying to break through the ceiling, and that room has a way higher ceiling. So all you just got to do is walk through that door. Now, that door is through remembering your multidimensional nature. That door is through remembering that you are so much more than this body. There is medical equipment that can actually measure your subtle bodies. Three levels: etheric, emotional, and mental. These are where our beliefs and our emotions actually live. They actually have energetic form outside of our physical body. So, not identifying with our beliefs and our emotions, number one. So, multidimensional, we are not just this. And not only that, but we have access to a less dense, higher dimensional wisdom that's connected outside of this low density being. And it's connected through our consciousness, through our heart, through the neural network that's in our guts. And that's when people say listening to their guts, listening to their heart. What we're talking about is the neural network that exists in the body. And that neural network is connected to a truth that's outside linear time. And that truth, connecting to that truth that is translated through my heart, through my gut, by learning to listen to that and really trust it, that's how I've been able to get these grounded results, not through effort, not through pushing, not through exhausting myself, not through trying to follow society's rules, not trying to break down walls and ceilings, which is what I was doing for 33 years.
Wow. I mean, that's powerful. And when you say these kinds of numbers, like you said, I think you said like a 50K quarter, something like that. Are these, what were the numbers like before? Is this in range with what you had before? Or what kind of a change is this?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, would it be like possible to share a slide by any chance?
It might be. It
I just
might
think
be.
visuals are always a helpful. I'm happy to just share the numbers, but I have a slide about this actually.
Hang on, I think I can do this. Yeah, if you put it up, then I will pop it here on the full screen.
All right. If it gets too complicated, let me know. Let's see here. Okay. So I'm gonna share my slide. So this kind of gives people a little bit more access into my story, at
Sure.
least around money. Okay.
Got it.
Let me know when it's live.
Yeah, I think we are. Yeah, we. Oops. Why is that not as big as I'd like it to be? Let's see if this works a little more. Stand by, everybody. Oh, there we go.
Oh yeah, I see. It's like kind of like stuck in the corner, huh?
Oh, no, we got this. We got this.
Oh man, look at that. Talk about
Okay. Well, no,
multidimensional.
I
Talk
think we
about
got this.
multidimensional.
I know, right?
Oh my God.
We are slowly but surely growing the studio here. Okay, got it.
Is it? Because I think we're lagged a little bit, but what I'm okay, there we go.
Yep.
Got it. Sweet. So the question you asked was, what was my income like before? So I actually have a diagram for that. So as people get to know me, I'm super geeky with slides. I love slides, and I think they really help to explain things. So I'm just looking at how much I was actually making per week starting back in 2006. So in 2006, I had a corporate gig and I was making about 1,300 per week at the time, which comes out to like 64,000 per year. Um, 2009, I got sick of it. This is where I first broke free from the societal conditioning. I was like, okay, I'm on a bad path here. I was 280 pounds, single, living in a basement apartment with my two cats, super lonely, super depressed, and just trying to buy a house so that hopefully I can meet my wife. And the whatever what my guidance counselor had told me the path was: go get your tech degree, go into the corporate world. That's how you're going to get the path to all your happiness. So I eventually realized that that was bull and quit to become a dog trainer because I loved animals. So that was my first business out of the corporate world, and quickly created six jobs I loved. So then I was making a little bit more than I was. Just about 6 months later, I was making more than I was in corporate and less hours per week. So, but I was still kind of around the same spot. So I was making about 1,400 per week. And I was paid for work I love, but it wasn't my deepest passion and purpose. So in 2012, I decided to explore the world, moved to Spain, dropped everything again, and started an English teaching business. 2013, I moved to Kenya and was got a part-time gig, full-time volunteering, part-time with a tech company again, which allowed me to do the full-time volunteering. But again, my income, I was only 20 hours a week now, but I was capped. My income was still capped at 14 hours, 1,400 a week or so. So then I started two businesses and my nonprofit and got it down to 15 hours a week, but was still capped out here. So there's this really interesting ceiling happening. So I had time and location freedom. I was living my deepest purpose through the volunteering and my business, but I wasn't through the volunteering, but I wasn't paid for my natural gifts. I had to have this copywriting business. I had a copywriting business at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a coaching practice, but most of my income was coming from my copywriting business. And this corporate job that I had, this online remote corporate job. So both businesses failed in 2015 because I wasn't passionate, really, really super passionate about them. I used all my savings to get by and move to California, where I took this same job again to get through a tough time, and then started a business and was the CEO of another company. And so I had back up to 60 hours, used all my savings again in 2018, and you know both businesses failed again that I was a part of, and then became the CEO of a small company for 50 hours a week, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. So I was this seesaw of like plan Bs and like trying to figure out my money. And when I created this presentation for a different talk I was giving, I just couldn't believe it. I was actually like, let me see what the trends were over the years. And there's this clear ceiling that I had to abundance, which made me, and I got it because I knew that I was hitting a block. I knew every time I got close to becoming like the CEO or like really building, like having something boost, it all came falling down. And I knew it was like my energetic capacity wasn't able to hold it. So what I did was, well, wealth dynamics we're not going to get into right now, but wealth dynamics is a tool I use with all my clients in addition to human design and the gene keys to really help align our vehicle to our higher purpose. And what this happened was uh, in 2019, I walked into that other room. I walked into that other doorway. And, I'm working about 40 to 60 hours a week now, full time in a business I freaking love. It's my passion. It's finally my heart business. And I'm using my natural gifts. I'm supporting people, guiding people to learn how to, like, I never freaked out in any of these pits because I knew that my vibrational capacity was one that had me living up here. Now I've increased my vibrational, foundational, multidimensional capacity to hold this amount, and I'm continuing to learn how to boost that. So
And you're just having a better time doing it too.
I'm having a way better time. It's so much fun, on fire all the time.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, let me put us back. So, so this is so fascinating, right? Like that. What you're saying, what I'm hearing you say, is that this wasn't a change that you like went and got a different degree, or someone gave you a lucky break, or you were in the right place at the right time. You simply made a decision to look at your life differently, and then that changed your financial picture. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and yes, and a little bit more specifically, what I'm saying is that instead of trying to, like you said, follow some external strategy or get some other degree,
Hmm.
I decided I was all throughout that time. What I was doing was looking at where my inner alignment, inner vibration was not in matching with the life I desired.
Hmm.
That's the key. That's actually the answer to your first question is what do people most need to hear right now is drop in the external strategies and ask yourself, how is my internal world not in alignment with the life I desire? And last year, that's what I really committed to was making sure that my inner world was in alignment with this life. Because when your inner world's in alignment with the life you desire, there's nothing that can stop it because we
Gotcha.
live in a multidimensional vibrational universe that has to match.
Gotcha. So what was that process like for you? What was it like to discover those things in your life that you had that no longer match your new vibration, and to get rid of them?
Super painful. And whenever a client wants to start working with me, they ask, quite often I get asked like, well, can you guarantee anything? And I was like, well, the only thing I can almost 95% guarantee is that some part of your life's going to fall apart. And yeah, and I explained it more deeply is that because what I help people do is not what most coaches help people do. Most coaches help people figure out answers to their problems on a surface level, so give them strategies, tools, to help with symptoms. I help people completely reorient and restructure at a foundational level. So when I was doing that for myself, and this has happened multiple times in my life, all those dips in that slide, each one of those was representing a very painful time, and but it was a painful time. I knew it was a very healing time because those are the times that there's a reason why my life was the way it was in each of those dips, why things had to burn away, because the way I was creating my world was from beliefs I put in place that I chose from a deep pain earlier in my life, either from my very young childhood or from growing up. And that's what we all do as humans, and, for better or for worse. We choose to believe certain things that help us out when we're kids, but then start to be a detriment. And in order to allow those beliefs to leave so that you can be more open to the possibilities, you've got to look at the pain. We choose these beliefs in order to prevent us from having to feel that pain. So when we let go of the beliefs, all of that stuck emotion, all that stuff that we've been burying down in our comfort zones comes up. So that's part of it. And that's what I can also guarantee my clients is that I'm going to give them the tools to stand in that fire, to feel their truth, to feel their emotions, to release that stuff that's holding their frequency down.
Hmm. Well, that's so powerful. What for you? I mean, because all of this sounds extremely painful, right? Like painful and uncertain, and a lot of things that people work very hard to avoid from happening, like you were saying. What was it for you that made you, and maybe also your clients, that made you choose the pain?
um, well, it was the first in 2009. It was I had put an offer down on a house, And I was a virgin until I was 22 and was made up fun of, a very socially awkward kid. I was a geek. I loved to read, loved to study. And, my whole life, early life, and in some ways I'm still on that healing journey, but my whole early life, I really just wanted my wife. I wanted my partner. I felt like I needed her to feel safe, to feel valuable, to feel worthy as a man. And, I was working like 80-hour weeks and just looked at myself in the mirror, 280 pounds, drinking on the weekends, just like looking at my trajectory. Even if I did move up in that company, I would just be working harder. And I, that, that was enough for me to just say, okay, no more. I've got to like make a shift. And once I realized, I like pretty much just quit the next day. Once I woke up, oh, what happened was the offer on my house fell through. And so I woke up and I was like, oh, thank God, like something clicked in me. I was like, oof, thank God. I just like avoided a real catastrophe, like a 30-year mortgage I would have been stuck into. So I I really woke up and that first dip, that first going to zero, that conscious choice, like I don't know what I'm gonna do, but it's not this. Starting my dog training business, going through that discomfort of like, can I really do this? Can I really make money without my degrees? Can I make as much money? I believe I can, and the things I had to go through, and then to watch my faith turn into something new. That first time, my mind got some of the evidence that it wanted, but the real key here is, like you said, these what I'm suggesting are very like uncertain. It's uncertain, but it's only uncertain to the mind. Now, I can assure everyone that's listening is what I'm suggesting is actually very certain. It's a foundational certainty that as you shift your internal vibration, your external world has to shift to match it. It has to. Now, that's why when you heal something, when you release a part of you that's been creating the life you've lived for the last few decades, and you healed that part of you, everything that was created from that part of you is probably going to fall away, or at least parts of it, or those parts, if it's people in your life, they're going to need to choose to either they're not going to be able to be a part of your life anymore, they're going to shift to meet the new you. And so while it feels very, it's only uncertain to the mind, but this is the truth I'm talking about, that our mind wants to know so much what's going to happen, how it wants to plan, it wants to have it all mapped out and like be certain mentally, that it blocks the actual truth from coming through. The real certain truth, which is that if you allow yourself to stand in the fire of your truth and burn down what isn't actually serving you anymore, what you don't want, what's blocking you from what you truly want, and you stand in those ashes long enough, your new life will emerge. It has to. It has to. It's a certainty. It has to match. If you hold sustainably to that new vibration, your external world has to shift to match it.
Gotcha. And that's what you did, and that's what brought you. And then now it's where you are today, right? You made that choice to do that.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
And so, what does that mean? Like, what does it mean to to hold that vibration inside? What do you have to do? What do you have to do to really get there?
Well, it's a consistent practice. It's a consistent, the first step is, I talk about the three A's a lot, which is awareness, acceptance, and alignment. So the first step is awareness of your unconscious patterns, awareness of your unconscious beliefs, starting to disidentify with them. Realize that you are not your beliefs, none of them. You weren't born with any beliefs. They were chosen basically a lot in your first 7 years without even knowing it from your parents' beliefs. And you're walking through life, and their vibration of those beliefs is creating a reality to match it. So first, bringing awareness to what beliefs, what emotions you aren't allowing yourself to feel that are also sitting in your field, vibrationally matching to an external reality. And then the trick there though is once people become aware of their shadow patterns, they want to fix it. Now that's the outdated, wounded masculine patriarchal paradigm. I need to fix myself. I'm broken. I need to like force myself to be something different. This is where acceptance comes in, and this is key. The more you try to fix yourself, the more those parts of yourself are going to dig their heels in because
Mm.
they need to be heard. They need to be heard. They need to be seen. There's time for masculine action. I'm not. I just. I'm all about balance. There's time for masculine action. There's time for aligned action, which is very different than exhausting effort, blind effort. So the first step is that awareness and then acceptance. These parts of you that are scared to stand out, scared to express, scared to be your fullest self, like being with them for a little while, being in that discomfort, giving them what they need, realizing that you are a multidimensional being that is out like higher than the body that chose to come into this body, and that you can parent these parts. These are parts of you.
So basically embrace your inner weirdo, that thing that you've
Yes.
been trying not to do, the
Exactly.
thing you've been
Yes.
fighting against. Just do it. Just do it right now and don't wait a minute.
Right. Thank you. That's a really good way to put it. Yeah, the part of yourself you judge, like, why can't I just freaking stop procrastinating or stop doing this or stop like what if I could only just like Jesus, stop beating on this part of you. He's like most likely he or she is like three, a 3 year old part of you, a part of your neurology, because when we go through trauma as kids, a part of our neurology stops developing
Mm.
and gets cordoned off and committed to protecting you from that pain ever happening again. And it could have been as small as you crawled out of a room when you were 2 and came back to like find your mom and your mom wasn't there.
Mm.
Ooh, abandonment trigger.
Mm.
So there's like, it's not safe to fully express. It's not safe to explore the world because then the people that love me aren't going to be there when I come back.
Mm.
Like it's just these little frequencies, these little, so it's being like, that's like a 2 year old infant that's like freaking out every time you try to take a step into this bigger expression. So just like you would treat another 2 year old, being gentle, finding a gentleness with these parts of yourselves and being remembering it's super uncomfortable, Owen, and anyone that's watching. Like I said, it's not suffering. There's a difference between pain and suffering. There's to feel the discomfort of like, oh, this part of me is really sad. We've all forgotten how to be our sadness because we think freedom is happiness, and freedom is not happiness. Freedom is the free flow of emotion. So allowing ourselves to feel, and that is the fastest path to the life you really want.
Boom. There it is.
Yeah.
Ryan, where do how if someone wants to do some more work with you or learn a little bit more about what you're up to, how can someone get involved?
Yeah, they can visit my website, orionohev.com, and that is they'll see a couple ways there. They can join my email list, or they can also click for a free 60-minute, I call it a belief restructuring deep dive. So that allows us to go, like I mentioned, one of the first steps is to bring the unconscious beliefs to the consciousness. So we kind of go through that first step together, and we look at trying to find one or two big beliefs that might the person might not be aware of, to bring that up to the conscious awareness, and to then see how can we start that process of starting to integrate that part back in to help that part not be so agitated. And the other way is through ambrosialanimals.com. So we're now accepting applicants into the third semester of the School of Ambrosial Animals, which is a 6-month program to help people who are either already living out their purpose but have hit a wall of and are exhausted and are working really hard and like know there's another way. They know that there's a way they can create bigger impact and more abundance without killing themselves and not having time for their family. And they're looking for a more spiritually guided path, a more multi-dimensional path, or people who are have found success but are looking to tap more into that clarity. So if you have a big impact, desire to make a big impact, or you have a big dream, a big mission, and you want to be a part, explore to see if you're a good fit for this school. Um, over 6 months, we'll teach you 6 foundational tools to help you align to that life you desire. Remove the resistance. So when you actually take the masculine action, there'll be less resistance and it can be much more abundance, much more impact with much more ease and spaciousness.
Excellent. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Orion. I just put these links, both of these, in the chat,
Awesome.
so all of you can click on them and learn more. So thank you, Orion. My gosh, thank you so much for being here today and for this incredible insight. This is giving me quite a lot to think about just sitting here talking about this. And thank you for watching and listening. I really appreciate it. Again, my name is Owen. You can learn more about me at owenjward.com. We've got fresh content, articles, videos, podcast daily. So you can check it out there. All
Yeah.
right. So that's it.
Thanks, Owen.
Ryan,
Thanks so
thanks so much,
much.
man.
Thanks
All right.
everyone for watching, and anyone that's on my page, Owen is the man. That's watching this from my page. He is really, really amazing at mindset work as well. A really unique mix, like you'll see by the articles on his page. You should really check it out. Mixed with another secret sauce element to what he does, which he's a master marketer that you might find out when you dig into his work a little bit more. So thanks, Owen.
Awesome. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, guys.